Welcome to Room 1208. I'm your girl Mona Lisa. I have a special guest with me here today, and I'm so excited. Chaz Franklin is here with me today. Coach Chaz Franklin. Mile-long resume, y'all. Listen, this man, he's getting, he got it going on.
I'm flattered.
Yes. 15 years in the national basketball, pro basketball, in overseas, right?
Overseas, yep.
11 countries.
11 countries.
4 continents.
4 continents.
You done seen a lot.
I've seen most of it was ugly. I'm like, most of it was beautiful. No, it was beautiful. You know, every place has its charm. Let's say. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then you coached in Ireland.
Yeah, I coached in Iceland.
Iceland. I'm sorry,
yep,
Iceland.
For 3 years.
For 3 years, and then you took them to the finals twice.
Twice, and we lost both. Ain't that crazy?
But you got there.
We did get.
You
there.
took them. Their record was not too good when you got them.
It was a team effort. That's what I'm supposed to say, right?
Yeah, you want some.
Okay.
So you gotta make,
yeah,
because you might have to go back. They might want you to come back and
I
coach
hope
for
so.
them.
Wouldn't that be nice?
You gonna leave us?
Maybe.
You was gone for a long time.
I know. Probably go some.
Yeah.
I know.
So now you're coaching the female basketball team with Millersville University.
Right, at Millersville University.
Wow. I know they can ball.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, because some women ball better than men.
You know what? Some women do ball
They
better.
go hard.
Yeah, you're absolutely
They go hard because
right.
we got a lot to prove.
That's true.
Because men, they're expected to ball. Women, they like, oh, sit down. Y'all should be playing ball anyway.
Well, you know what? That's part of the reason why I enjoy coaching women's basketball, because they do have a bit of chip on their shoulder, and they are looking to prove something. And I've always been that kind of athlete myself. You know, more so of an overachiever, underdog, and I think a lot of women kind of have that same energy. So, you know, it's a good fit for us together. Yep.
Were you afraid to go overseas?
Some places, yeah.
Like what? Like what?
Woo. Let's see. Well, I spent some time in Saudi Arabia. During my time in Saudi Arabia.
I heard it's beautiful out there.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely
for
beautiful.
tourists, probably more so.
Right, for tourists. Well, for male tourists, I would say.
Okay.
My time when I was there was 2016 and 17. At that time, ISIS was going crazy and beheading people and all that type of stuff. So that was a bit of a, I guess, a health risk, shall we say. I played in Kuwait, which is the country right next to Iraq, and there were times that we had games right on the border of Kuwait and Iraq. I played in El Salvador.
Wow.
When it was considered the most dangerous country in the world. So yeah, I've been so.
So how you sleep at night and then get up and ball?
You know what? I'm from South Philadelphia.
That explains.
Right. Yeah, I'm from South Philadelphia. So no, but honestly, like, here's what it is. Generally speaking, the universal principle around the world is that when you lead with respect, when you lead with love, when you just treat others how you like to be treated, for the most part, people leave you alone.
True.
So, you know, that's how I got by.
True. Wow. I just couldn't imagine, like, being away from my family and just. Did you make a lot of friends out there?
I'm a people person, so that's something I always leaned into. When I'm out and about, I never carry myself like a professional athlete. I will go to my teammates, their parents' houses, their brothers and sisters' houses for lunch and for dinner. And I never really hung out with other basketball players. I kind of immersed myself in the local culture. So, you know, you were liable to see me literally anywhere in the town or in the city.
Walking around with a turban on your head.
Right, yeah, just exploring.
Playing with snakes.
Right, playing with snakes, on a camel, walking through the red light district in Columbia. I wasn't shopping, but I'm just kind of walking and exploring and looking.
Well, so. I guess that's a good thing, because it'll have you well rounded and you have things to share when you come back to the States.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know if I ever want to go to any of those countries because I'm kind of scary. So, and then you hear a lot of horror stories, and then I'm thinking that somebody might try to put something in my luggage. I might not come back home.
Well, you know, I've seen some horror stories, but no more horror stories than what I've seen growing up in Philadelphia.
Right.
So it just really depends more so on how you carry yourself and how you conduct yourself as a human being and as an individual. Yep.
I like that about you.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I did my research on you.
Really?
I did. You got a lot of integrity.
Oh, really? I appreciate that.
And I looked at a lot of your posts, and a lot of the things that you talk about is being a man of character, honor, and not being lazy. You might have a dream, but if you don't put the work behind it,
Right.
what's the dream for?
Right.
Basically,
Faith
that's what
without
you're
works
saying.
is dead. Absolutely.
Right,
Yep.
absolutely. This is the second time I heard that today.
Really?
Yeah,
That's confirmation.
Yeah, my mother-in-law said it to me today.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
'Cause
hey,
yeah.
we on the right path.
But I love what you stand for, and I love the fact that you're working with the youth, and you're part of the hustle, Big Hustle
Right. Yeah.
athletes.
Right. Yeah. Big Hustle is an athletic facility located in Philadelphia. It caters towards the development of young athletes. It's ran by a gentleman named Mr. Mel Hicks. I usually conduct player development sessions for youth groups in the area.
And they need that,
They do need it.
especially now. And not just crime is just it was heavy in Philly, but now it's happening everywhere.
Right.
But I'm from Philly, so I'm gonna always be Team Philly. The kids out there, they need it. They need men like you because they don't get that at home. They don't get that at home. A lot of them don't.
Yeah.
So they need somebody encouraging them, and they need to be able to have a safe haven, somewhere to go. Because I looked at a couple of the videos for Big Hustle,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw how they interact with the kids. And I seen a little kid. He looked like he was as young as 4 years old.
Right. Some of these kids are really young, but you know what? It's so important for them to have strong male figures in their life.
Absolutely.
In particular, young African American males.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of the times when we see these rashes of violence throughout the city, I think it stems from the fact that these kids don't have male role models. I don't think that they, like, for instance, if you hear somebody, oh, they're going to pull out a gun and shoot somebody, let's say a child, right, which happens a lot in Philadelphia, unfortunately, you don't necessarily take that as a non-masculine act because it's entrenched in violence.
Right.
But the way I see it, it seems more like an emotional response in the way that a non-strong male would respond, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
So
That makes a lot of sense.
like I try to process things logically, but if I were to process things emotionally and lead with my emotions, I think that's how some of these violent outbreaks kind of happen. And I think that so they're like lashing out, they're basically throwing a tantrum, they're throwing a hissy fit,
Right.
but they're still a male,
Right.
right? And they grew up in a violent culture,
Right.
so they respond, you know, with gun violence, physical violence. And I think that's why the city is in the state that it's in right now.
And it's good that your the foundation that you work with, that they're capturing the kids at a very young age. Because I'm sure you had that growing up, because you grew up in South Philly?
Right, South Philadelphia. Yep.
So I know that it was hard to like stay focused. And was it hard for you to stay focused?
Absolutely. Like I was always blessed to have great mentors in my community. They got me from a young age, and had I not spent so much time with them, you know, like our connection was through athletics. But during these practices, you know, through the development of sport, you know, just in the car when you're traveling and you know you're riding to the games, you know, we would have these conversations about how an upstanding man should conduct himself. You know, how you relate to others. I learned from different coaches that as an African American man, whenever someone walks into the gym, it would be in my best interest to stand up and shake their hand, because sometimes you can be viewed as threatening. And some of the coaches that will come in to maybe recruit us, you know, they're not from our environment. So I'm maybe, let's say, a 17-year-old, you know, black kid from public housing in South Philadelphia. Maybe he has preconceived notions about who I am, right?
Right.
And to be standoffish or to be even shy may be perceived as being standoffish or arrogant.
But you know what? I think a lot of what you just said, I never thought of it in that concept, but a lot of our behavior comes from us being conditioned and brainwashed that don't bow down to them.
Right.
because they're not the superior ones. We're the superior ones, or we don't want them to think that we think that they're superior.
Right.
So we don't do that. But it's just for the moment.
I mean, you know what? You know what I've learned? At the end, I've been on a lot of people. Black, white, Asian, Central American, Latin American, South American, Christian, Muslim, Jewish. I found out that at its core, people are people are people. I don't particularly hold myself above anyone, but I certainly don't view myself as lower or beneath anyone at all. So I try to deal with everybody in the same way, with respect first and foremost. And I just think also understand that I am African American. I need to be make people feel comfortable because we're all coming from different places.
Right.
In the same way that you might perceive that his life or he's this way because of his race or nationality or socioeconomic status, he has these same misconceptions or prejudices against me. So I just like to make people feel comfortable, and that's a trait that you can use all around the world, and I think it's beneficial.
And you can tell, I get that from you. I got that from you when I first met you, that you have this ability to draw people in. One of the events we were at together, and everybody was just standing around you listening to everything that you had to say. And that,
They were?
Yeah, I'm observing.
Well, I have a big mouth. I got a big mouth. Maybe that's what it is, right?
Well, listen, it's working.
Wow. Well, thank you.
It's working, and you're doing some good things, and we need people like you. And also, you have a coach clinic.
Yeah, we do have our coaching clinic.
But before the coach clinic, I forgot to tell y'all, I got a movie star sitting in my
chair.
I got a movie star sitting in my chair. Hustle with Adam Sandler.
I was in Hustle with Adam Sandler, yes. I'm very proud of that.
You should be.
But I was in there.
Yeah, he's a big deal.
He is a big
deal. So now
deal.
you're a big deal.
I'm like 33% deal. Or what is it? Is he 100% deal? Or if he's let's go this. If he's 100% big deal, I'm like, let's give me 11. Can I go 11%?
No, let's do 15.
Well, I got 15. Well, okay.
No, we're gonna give you 30.
Okay, I'll take 30.
We're gonna give you.
So 30. I'm 33% Adam Sandler.
Because you have not just the movie with Adam Sandler, Hustle series. So what is that a spinoff?
No, the Hustle series was a show, an internet show that they put together for a tournament called the TBT. Okay. The TBT is $1 million basketball tournament that happens every summer, where they take the best teams from all around America, throw them in a ring together. One team comes out the victor, and you get $1 million purse.
Ooh.
I was blessed to be named the coach of Team Brotherly Love, which is essentially the team that represents the city of Philadelphia. So the Hustle series was a docu-series on our journey throughout the summer as we competed in TBT. Part of the clips were shown on ESPN, and it was a great highlight for us. I'm on the board of directors for the Brotherly Love Pro-Am, which is like the premier Pro-Am in the city.
I saw your clip with that.
Yeah,
I saw your clip with that. I said he looked like a head coach.
You think so?
I do.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Was it the bald head?
Yeah.
It was.
And you had the clip, and you was talking to the players.
The guys.
I said, did he look like a pro? Would you want to go be a pro?
Absolutely. I mean,
in the NBA, like coach.
I mean, I think that every coach, or I would imagine that every coach has a desire to be a head coach. I would think, and I think that just from a competitive standpoint, anybody that's in the game, I would imagine most competitors, would like the opportunity to compete at the highest level. So it doesn't have to necessarily be the NBA for me. I do a lot of work, or a substantial amount of work in the WNBA. So I'm just open. And
wow.
I'm just.
I gotta hang out with you because I would love to be just like up close and personal with all of it.
But I'm so boring. Like my regular, no, for real. Here's my regular existence. My normal existence, I wake up at 5 o'clock every morning. Right.
Early to bed, early to rise.
Right. 5 o'clock every morning. I go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a medium hot coffee with 3 cream, 3 swindle. Right. That's what I do. They know me.
You gotta add some caramel.
No, because I'm trying to I don't know.
Add the caramel, take down the Splenda.
Okay.
Because the caramel's already sweet.
I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna give it a go, but I'm a creature of habit. Right. And probably 95% of the day, I'm by myself. but I'm not alone. So I'm
Yeah, because
usually,
there's a difference.
yeah, I'm traveling solo, but I'm usually in a social environment. And just the way that my job is and the blessings that come into my life, it just so happens that through the relationships I have with people, the kids I mentor, it'll put me in a space where,
And
okay.
you never feel lonely. You feel satisfied, and
Absolutely. No, I don't feel lonely at all. Nope.
that's good.
I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose.
Yeah, and I can see that. I can see that, but I do see you being a head coach in the future. So I'm gonna name that and claim that.
I thank you.
Because you have the discipline, you have the drive, you have all the characteristics that a head coach needs to coach a team. I see that. And I seen that in your clips. I was doing some
You were
research.
watching?
I was doing some research because I had to. Cause I had to bring this interview because I didn't want to shame you because you got this big long resume. So I had to do my research and
Oh,
you
well, I
know,
appreciate it.
yeah. But
Okay.
you're gonna do some good things.
I appreciate it.
You're gonna do some good things.
Appreciate it.
But brotherly love.
Mm-hmm.
So what the when I saw that on your resume,
Mm-hmm.
the brotherly love and pro-am,
Mm-hmm.
it's pro-am, right?
Right, pro-am, yep.
Okay. So what are you guys doing, like, as far as that's based in Philly?
Right. It's a Philadelphia-based team. This year, the past 2 years, we competed during the summer in Camden. Okay. This year, we will be returning back to the city of Philadelphia for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
The Brotherly Love Pro-Am is a collection of professional basketball players and amateur basketball players from the city of Philadelphia and surrounding areas. We bring a lot of NBA guys back to compete in the league. And it's pretty much for the community. I mean, like some guys, like let's say we've had guys like Dwight Howard just show up. You know, he didn't play when he showed up, but you know he was there. We had guys like Bones Highland who was playing for the Denver Nuggets. Okay, these are multi-million-dollar athletes, but the kids in our community may not ever have the resources to go to an NBA game or to see these stars. So what we try to do is bring these stars to the community and let our children, the people of the community, get an up close and personal, you know, interaction with the players. We also have, in my opinion, the top players not in the NBA from the area. So we have players that play in the top leagues in Europe and in Asia and in Latin America.
I know quite a few people who play overseas.
Right.
They were a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, you know, they are at the top of their profession. You know, particularly the guys at the top of the, you know, of the Euro League or in the highly competitive leagues in Europe. These guys are one decision outside of being in the NBA. Like, there's no difference between, generally speaking, the third point guard in the NBA versus a starting point guard on a Euro League team outside of opportunity. So it's highly competitive. We just partnered with the TBT.
Mm-hmm.
So the following summer, the winner of the Brotherly Love Pro-Am is going to compete, get an automatic bid to compete in the TBT for a chance to win $1 million.
Wow.
So you can be a semi-pro player, you can be a recreational player, you can be an overseas guy, and if you can win our Pro-Am, you get the chance to go on ESPN and play for $1 million.
So I know you coach, but do you still play?
I play very sparingly now. I think that during my playing career, I had to give so much just to be able to compete for so long. I played 15, so until I was 40 years old. I already knew.
That's old in basketball.
Oh, it's ancient. Yeah, I was the oldest guy, like
Would you
easily.
say that's ancient?
Ancient, yeah. I was the oldest dude on the team, probably in the league. And I always had interest outside of playing basketball. You know, they have this ball is life thing. And, you know, to some degree, I'm still in basketball, obviously.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say that it is my life. But I knew that once I stopped playing basketball, I didn't have a desire to go to battle against other guys. I didn't have anything left to prove.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't this burning desire for me anymore. It wasn't like it was an incomplete thing. It was like I completed that part of my life, and I'm proud of it, and you know I'm satisfied with it. And now I'm looking towards the next step, which
You
is
should
coaching
be
and helping
proud.
others.
And you're very humble. So when do you look back, like just think about all the things that you've accomplished and be like, I can't believe that's me.
No,
No.
no. My friends and family tell me I should more. The problem is that I think I'm a little ambitious. Well, I think
A little ambitious.
Yeah,
This resume
right. Well,
shows that you're more than a little ambitious.
So I'm ambitious, and I think sometimes I make the mistake of not living in the moment and always striving towards the next accomplishment or achievement. And maybe every once in a while I'll think about it. If anything, I might talk trash about it to like my kids, like, "Oh, you should have saw me when I was right." But I really don't mean that, because I don't, like, when I'm in the house by myself, I don't think about, "Oh man, there was a time when you wanted to play basketball and it happened," or I met the president of Iceland.
Really?
Right. Like I met like the Federation president, which is like the basketball president, and then I met the president of the country.
Oh my God.
Right. And we lost that game, so he gives you a silver medal and he puts it on your neck. Right. And sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, man, I grew up in Section 8 housing. I was on 17th and Morris playing on a milk crate, and I was on 17th and Seagull playing on another milk crate. Right. And I would imagine that most people didn't project me to ever reach that level, but God has been good to me. And
one of those na boo boo.
I try to. Well, part of that's in there too, right? Because I'm still from Philly, right. There is still a part of you that wants to stick it to the people that doubted you.
Yeah,
that's natural, right? But that wasn't really my driving force. It was just something kind of maybe subconsciously.
So did you do it to get out of the city? Like, was that a focus, like, to get out of the city? Absolutely.
I always was blessed to go to good schools, like academic schools. I went to Albert M. Greenfield Elementary. Then I went to it's on 22nd and Chestnut.
Okay.
Right. So at the time, I'm living on 17th and Seagull. Right. The same Seagull Street that Beanie Siegel is named after. He's 3 blocks up the street. Right. So we would sometimes play at a schoolyard called McDaniel. Was a school called McDaniel, right on the corner of, like, where he was. So these were people from my community, right? But I got to go to Greenfield, which was on 22nd and Chestnut. So that was the first time that I actually encountered middle class black people. I never knew black people from my community. Everybody around my way was poor or broke, or if they had money, it's because they were doing something illegal. So those things sort of turned me on to thinking outside of the box and thinking outside my community. And once I realized that basketball could be a tool to see the world, or at least just to go to college, which is another big thing.
Right.
I leaned into it, and I just loved it as well. So
what college did you graduate from?
I graduated from Roberts Wesleyan College. It's a Division II university, or college, in Rochester, New York. Yep, North Chili, New York, which is like a suburb of Rochester.
Wow, that's decent. That's decent. I sent 4 of my kids to college.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that must be expensive.
I don't have graduated. Not from college. They went to, explore other things, but they didn't graduate. I did.
Well, congratulations to you.
Yeah.
One, and here's the other thing. With the world we live in today, the college education is maybe not necessarily as valuable as it once was.
Right.
And it's a million ways to skin a cat.
Right.
How they say there's more than one way to skin a cat.
It is.
Right. So it's different avenues for you to be successful today. It's not even really so much about college as much today as it is about being educated.
Right.
Right. So you can educate yourself.
Right.
Right. But you just have to have the discipline and resolve to do it. So
because honestly, when you're in school, you're teaching yourself anyway.
Right.
You might have some professors that are hands-on and they will actually teach a course, but 9 times out of 10, you're teaching yourself. I had signed up for real estate classes back in started in October. One of my professors, he was awesome. When I tell you he was awesome, then I had this other professor. I'm like. Turn to this page, read that. Turn to that page, read this. He wasn't teaching anything.
Well, you know what? At least in my opinion, I think the true value in college now, the first thing is that it proves that you can finish. Because sometimes that's a problem that young people encounter. Starting, but very few finishes. Right? Kids that grow up, they want to play the drums. Then they want to play basketball. Then they're karate. Right? Then they want to be a break dancer. Right?
That's me though, as an adult. I'm all over the place.
But you can be all of them. But here's the thing: how many of them do you finish?
Right.
Because it only counts if you finish it.
Right.
Right? That's one. And then two, the networking experiences in college, particularly for those people who have been disenfranchised. So, which I didn't understand when I was in college, but I understand now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You will have the opportunity to live with thousands of other like-minded people. Right? Frankly put, I mean, some of my best friends in the world are white guys and teammates from college. Right? If we saw each other walking down 17th and Siegel,
Mm-hmm.
they may very well cross the street not knowing who I am internally.
Right.
But because we got a chance to live in a dorm together, eat in the caf together,
Right.
practice together,
Right.
lift weights together,
Mm-hmm.
go to parties together, they say, you know what, Chaz is all right. And so you maybe get to tap into their network, which is completely different from my network
Right.
and my
Right.
community.
And that's how you
you elevate, right.
in your
Mhm.
horizons.
Yep.
That make a lot of sense. You're so bright.
You think so? I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah. And all my listeners and all my viewers gonna be like, they're gonna go Google you. Who is Chaz Franklin?
Nobody.
You somebody.
Just trying to be somebody.
Who said that?
Well, that was a
You
gospel
could be
song.
some-
I
You could be
think I messed it
somebody.
up. Something. No, wait. What was that? You know what that was on?
What?
House Party. When they got full force and the guy was like, I am somebody. You remember that?
That's
House
so long
Party.
ago.
That's my era. That's your
My
era
era
too.
too.
I know what's going
I'm
on.
old. I'm a lot older than you, I think.
How old are you? I'm
50.
21. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You did a lot in your 21 years.
I appreciate that. Like
No,
Tupac.
I just turned 50.
Really? You're a young 50.
I know.
You're a young 50.
Yeah. I feel like a young 50, but then my knees sometimes be like,
Mine too.
you an
Mostly
80-year-old,
my nephew.
90-year-old. Yes.
You gotta try yoga.
I did that before.
You gotta finish stuff.
And
See, you saw the finish.
that's my problem. That's my problem. I'm always starting something and not finishing it. But this podcast is something that I'm going to be determined to finish
There you go.
and complete. Whether I have one viewer, but my hope is to have
Well, you're not gonna
thousands.
get one viewer.
Yeah. My hope is to touch thousands and thousands of viewers, but I'm gonna do it because I'm happy. I'm having fun.
I'm having fun being here.
Yeah, I'm having fun, and I said that I'm gonna just do it for fun and see what happens.
Mhm.
And I'm glad that you are here with me today because it was short notice, and you showed up. I made you some good food.
Man, that food was yeah.
So make sure you take some with you.
It was delectable.
I made some fried fish, some fried chicken, potato salad, collard greens.
Yeah, and I sample every last single dish.
So
and
make
it
sure
was
you take
delectable.
some with you because you're single, right?
I am single.
So make sure you take some. We got take out trays and
Really?
inside. You
Yeah,
can.
y'all just like Steak 48.
No, I've never been to Steak 48.
My mom tried to get me to take it there one time. She was out of pocket at a high level.
Did you take it?
No. You know what line I used on her?
What?
Like I used to do me when I was a kid. You got Steak 48 money?
I know,
what I
right?
mean.
Because you
Yeah.
gotta spend a certain amount of money in there.
Yeah, you got this. I think it's like $100 a plate. You know what? My thing is this. It wasn't about the money, right? It's about, I'm not a foodie.
Really?
I'm not. I'm not a foodie. And I just think that they're trying to just get over on you because of this illusion that, like, the branding is so heavy that, like, why is this steak worth $100 and this steak from Murray's is only worth $2?
Murray's.
Murray,
You
remember
really
that?
telling your
Point
age.
Breeze. Murray's, Point Breeze. I mean, my grandmother used to walk to Murray's.
That's the store, right?
Yeah.
I used to love Murray's.
And they didn't have bags. And it was a lot. Look, y'all steak food all you want. I'm just saying. Murray's, when I was coming up on Point Breeze, it was a cultural experience.
It was. And they had things that you could not find in a regular supermarket.
Pig feet in a jar. I never ate it. My grandmother did. I thought she was a scumbag for that. Everybody know me know I love my grandmother. She was a scumbag for eating pickled pig feet. It was disgusting.
I grew up in North Philly. We grew up on pickles pig feet. You would go to the store and they would take the parchment paper, dig their hand down there and get that pig feet and wrap it up in that parchment paper, and you just sit on the step and gnaw that foot.
And then I would see her cook certain kinds of like pig parts. And it was like grayish, and it stunk.
That's chitlins.
Oh, okay, yeah. So she's cooking chitlins,
Pig
right?
parts.
No, she put hot sauce on. Well, and you see the hot sauce was dripping between the gray funk. Disgusting. It was trifling. And my Uncle Louis, God rest him, so he would come over, and they would partake in these.
I tried to make some chitlins one time in my apartment when my kids was little.
No, it smells.
Listen, they made a fort. They took all the pillows off the chair. They tried to build up so the smell wouldn't go into their bedroom.
Yeah, you have to compartmentalize.
Right.
It's a funkatorium. Well, listen. Yeah, no, thank you.
I love pork. Listen, you done got me off track. Because you know
I like bacon as much as the next man.
No, I love.
But bacon's different from chitlins.
Yeah, I mean, I'll eat chitlins. I'm not gonna buy chitlins.
That made my stomach.
Huh?
That made my stomach turn.
I would eat them. I wouldn't buy them because I got too much respect for my partner in life.
Yeah.
To cook stuff like that in the house. But we're gonna get back on track here. So you have a clinic coming up, a coach clinic coming up in August.
No, it's going to be. We have two of them coming up.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is going to be for middle school students.
Mm-hmm.
March 4th and 5th at Big Hustle.
Okay, so I didn't see the advertisement for that one.
Right. Yeah. So that's this first one coming up, and then the following weekend we'll have one for high school kids.
Okay.
I've done something similar at the end of the summer, and essentially what it is it's like a 2-day training camp or like clinic just for the young people who want to prepare themselves for the upcoming AAU season. Okay, AAU is like when the kids, they play on these traveling teams all in the region, but also all around the country.
Like Pop Warner for basketball.
Right, something like that, but on steroids because they're trying to get recruited by colleges and universities.
In high schools.
Right, in high schools too. Yeah, well, the middle school kids are trying to get high schools to look at them, and the high school kids are trying to get colleges. Right, so
that's dope.
I like to spend 5 hours a day for 2 days, so 10 hours over the weekend, and just pour into them. It's tough. I give them some good speeches. We do some yoga. We work on some nutritional things that we talk about. It's a ton of basketball. It's competitive drills. It's live scrimmaging. I know that I'm moving around a lot, so it's not always easy for me to get back into the community, especially lately with my schedule just with traveling a lot.
But every little bit helps,
right? Because
those kids really need it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sponsor 2 of the kids.
I truly appreciate it. Can I give you a high five?
I'm going to sponsor 2 of the kids.
The other kid.
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm going to sponsor 2 of the kids. And if anybody else out there want to sponsor one of these little babies, look up Chaz Franklin, Coach Chaz Franklin on Instagram, and you can get more information on where you can sponsor these kids under the clinic that's going to be going on in March.
Yep.
So what day is it? Is it in March?
The middle school clinic is the 4th and the 5th.
The 4th and the 5th.
So that's this upcoming weekend.
Okay.
And then the high school clinic is going to be the following weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
So sponsor a kid. That's the best you can do. And do it for me. Do it for the kids. Do it for the babies. And if you're from Philly and you're listening, do it for those kids because they need it.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, they really need. We need to help them kids get off the streets, and we need to make sure that they can get there safely because you know that the crime is horrible in Philly right now. Just traveling to the store to get a soda is dangerous.
I want to tell you something. This area that I live in, okay, it's like Center City. So many times I just end up walking or Ubering because I don't want to move my car because of a parking spot. Long story short, sometimes I catch the L if I need to get from Old City back up my way quickly. This is probably the worst that has ever been in my life.
Really?
If you get on the L at night, I was on the L maybe like 2 weeks ago. It's like the mental ward, the drug rehab center,
oh Lord,
and all the halfway houses all let out at the same time.
Oh my God.
Right. And you go on the L, I was on the L, and it's maybe like 8:30 at night.
Do you see the fear on my face right now?
Listen.
I feel afraid.
If you listen, there were probably 10 passengers on the car that I was on. 8 of them were 100% like heroin addicts. Like they were doubled over. One guy was doing street yoga, and then, so he's like bent over like this. He won't fall, but he's right? The others are slumped over in the chairs, right? And there's one dude who wasn't an addict, but he had a Crocodile Dundee knife this big, and he's sharpening this knife, right?
On the L?
On the L, right? And all I hear is boom, boom. Next stop, 11th Street. I'm like, yeah, I got to go to 15, but you know what I mean? I'm out of there,
I'm
right?
about to walk these 4 blocks.
Yeah. So now I'm walking on the platform. I'm not making this stuff up, right? I'm walking on the platform. There is a dude laying on the platform, okay? There is not a big puddle, but just a small puddle, right, of blood around him. I don't know what happened. I didn't want to know, right? And I asked his homie, and he don't know, you all right? Oh, all right, right? This is all one day. Right-handed guy. A lady walked past me, and she had a needle in her. I am not making this up. Ask my friends. I told everybody about this.
She had a needle
The
sticking
needle
out
was
her
sticking
neck?
out her neck. And I said, ma'am, there's a needle in your neck. She said, no, it's okay. I said, no. There's a needle in your neck. I know it's a needle. I can see the orange tip part on the end.
Oh,
I
my
know
Lord.
needles. I mean, not that I, but I'm just saying, I've seen a lot
Oh,
of
my
needles.
Lord.
And she just was walking with a needle, and it was in that, big vein.
Oh, Lord.
It was coming out the
mercy.
vein. Yeah, and that was the last time I was on the L. And I'm 42. So imagine these kids that's, traveling on the sub and the L and all that. It's crazy.
And you see, I haven't been on the L in years.
Yeah.
I have no desire to get on the L.
Yeah.
I'm very scary.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't be as scary as I am because I may have to get on the L one day.
Mm.
But I haven't been on the L. Haven't been on the sub.
Mm-hmm.
I already have bad memories from being on the L and the sub back in the 90s. I got my earrings snatched on the L, got my earrings snatched on the sub. So it never felt safe to me after that. Like, I think I was traumatized after that. But parents send their kids, they might not know what's going on.
But they have to.
Yeah, they do now. If they listening and watching this, they gonna find out. Y'all need to go find out what's going on.
But the kids
in
have to
house.
get to school. So it's a crazy thing. I pray for the kids a lot, right? I can't imagine where they are mentally and psychologically. Like, some kids that I encountered, this was a couple weeks ago, right? They come to school. I'm speaking at a school. They come into school, and I know these kids because some of them attended my workouts before.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Mr. Franklin, what's going on? Yeah, some dude got stabbed on the L, on the platform. I'm like, what do you mean got stabbed? He got stabbed in the throat.
Oh my God.
I said, in the throat? I said, what happened? I mean, now I'm sounding dumb, but what happened? And it's not funny. He fell on the ground. He was throwing like this. It's not funny. It's not. But you understand what I'm saying? That go to show how traumatized I am from South Philly and you are from North. Because I said a dude got stabbed in the Adam's apple in the esophagus.
Listen,
and I started laughing.
I've seen some things growing up.
Yeah, me too.
I seen a man get a hatchet right on the top of. He's sitting there drunk.
And it was stuck in his head.
Stuck right on the top.
Like
of
a
his
Halloween
head.
mask.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes.
You know, I saw a girl do one time put a padlock inside of a sock and make a sling and bust another girl in the face with. That was jailhouse. So she was incarcerated. She had to been in jail.
Was it South Philly?
Yeah.
That was one place I never felt like.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I never felt like South Philly was a place of home for me.
All right, at least you say home.
Yeah, I never felt like it was a place of home for me. I lived there. That was the longest place I ever lived.
Mm-hmm.
I bought my house in 01. Mm-hmm. I just sold it.
Mm-hmm.
And I never felt like settled in that house. No matter how much I decorate, no matter how much I do, I never felt like home. North Philly, that was like in the trenches. And I love North Philly.
Well,
I won't live there now, but I loved it. The experiences that I had, friendship and family was different back then than it is now.
Right. Well, you know what? Here's the thing about South Philadelphia. We are very, first of all, very prideful about South Philadelphia. Like, you'll very, very rarely meet somebody from South Philly that won't tell you they're from South Philly. It's something that we lead with, one. And then two, it's a very close-knit community. Like, it doesn't really, at least from an athletic perspective, back in the day, people from like North Philly, like other parts of the city, you couldn't come down South Philly and just play basketball in South Philly. It was very like geographical, right? So see how you say you didn't feel at home? because you weren't home, right?
Right.
Now with all the trauma and drama and the violence I experienced, and I was the victim of something. It was a lot going on. I never felt uncomfortable in all my years, and I don't understand why that is. But maybe it's like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. Right. So I know. Oh man, there were times when I was living on Siegel Street, I would go play basketball at the Christian Street YMCA.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you would have to walk straight down 18th Street.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from my block where I'm going, I got to pass the boulevard. That's like Dickinson Street, right? I got to go past some of those guys. I got to go past Reed Street, right? And then you get to kind of like Ellsworth Street, and then you get across the tracks, so like the Washington Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Murderers Row, Carpenter.
What's considered Murderers
These
Row?
are the 3 C's. It's like
Carpenter, Christian, and Catherine.
right, and Christian's the last one.
Uh-huh.
So with each level that you walk through, there's a different set of juvenile delinquents.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 80s and 90s, it's not, I don't know how they move today because I'm not in that element. But when you would walk through there as a kid, for no reason, these guys would just punch you in your eye. They'll punch you in your eye. Right? So, for one, I got in a lot of fights as a kid. I never started any of them. And my record on 18th Street was 3-27, because there was a lot of dudes that could punch back then, right? So I was getting beat up every other day, but I wanted to play basketball so bad, right? I was going anyway.
That's the drive,
right? Well, really, it was. I diverted sometimes, right? It was like a detour. Sometimes I'd be on 18th Street. I would see a set of hooligans, right? Probably on Catherine Street, and instead of going straight through, I would make a right, right? Try to make the quick right. See if I get to Broad Street. You get to Broad Street, walk all the way down to Christian, and if you can get from Broad and Christian to 18, you usually be okay. Because they don't really, thugs don't hang on Broad Street.
No, they don't.
They don't.
I met one of the dopest people off of, or what street was that? Catherine.
Really?
Yeah. Catherine Street. Yeah.
That was a rough block.
He was trying to court me, but we ended up being really good friends.
Listen, Catherine and Carpenter Street, those are like legendary
I used to
Philly
hear
blocks.
horror stories about Fitzwater. Fitzwater Projects, was that
down, like kind of down Fifth Street.
The Fitzwater, they not there no more, right?
No, most of the projects got torn down, right?
Yeah.
Man,
I used to hear horror stories
even
about
in North Philly, right? Blumberg got torn down, right?
They did?
Yeah, I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
They're like defunct now. They tore them down, and then the people in the projects kind of just were in the neighborhoods.
Yeah, so when you said that you go to South Philly and you always feel safe or comfortable, not safe, but
not safe, but comfortable. Right.
I didn't feel that when I went to North Philly recently. Listen, I was driving on Diamond Street and I was like, almost got hit. It's like somebody almost crashed into me about 3-4 times. I was like, I gotta get from North Philly. The same stores and restaurants that were there when I was a kid is still there. It looks like the bottom of the barrel slum. But it's this one store.
When you get older, I'm sorry.
This Chinese store, they got the best food. And I wanted to stop and see if those French fries was the same, but I was too afraid to get out the car.
Listen, when you get older, right, you lose a bit of your nerve and you gain wisdom. Right? Okay, my friends and I would get on at Tasker Morris on the train, ride the subway all the way up to Fernand. Right, so that's the end of the line, and we would stand in between
That's a long ride.
Yeah, we would just do it just for fun, right? Hop the sub, and then
that's a long ride.
Yeah, so we would stand in between the cars. You know how like you have the 2 train cars, and then you have the little metal walkway with the 2 little chains, and we would ride in between the 2 train cars because because we were dumb. Because we were 14.
You won't do that now.
No, I've lost all my nerve.
Yes, I've lost a lot of nerve.
That's the same thing.
I've lost a lot of nerve. But is you losing nerve or just gaining wisdom?
Wisdom. Both. All right. I used to wheelie bikes. I used to wheelie bikes down stairwells. Right. That's what we did. It's the 80s, 90s. We would ride bikes a lot. Right. I had bikes when I didn't have a bike with brakes until I was probably an adult. Oh, seriously.
So your Sneaks was your brake.
Yeah, your Sneaks was your brake, so I stopped with your feet, right? Or you gotta learn how to spin out of everything.
Oh, Lord.
I got hit by a bus because of that. On 17th and Pierce, when I was in like I think I was 10.
Favor. You see how God showed you favor?
I was racing this. I'm racing this dude, right? We racing on Pierce Street. We racing. We get to Pierce Street, and we get to the corner. 17th Street runs this way. The number 2 bus comes down 17th Street, right? I get out there. I try to spin out. Cool, it was a good spin.
A pedal bike or a
pedal bike? It's a pedal bike, right? But the momentum, I didn't know the bus was bearing down, you know what I mean, on me like that. And I got out there, oh man, the 2 is coming. And I get a little bit to the side, like quickly, and it hit me. Bam! It hit me. So I fly over the parked cars onto the sidewalk.
Oh.
And the crazy thing is, the summer before, some girl used to live on the block. She got hit by the number 2 bus, right? And it ran over her skull and killed her.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
And her mother had a $4 million lawsuit.
Oh, Lord. You was trying to get your mom some money.
I know, I was trying to get her I took one for the 10.
You was trying to get your mom some money.
So I'm laying on 17th and Pierce on the sidewalk, right? My grandmother out there, she got her asthma pump. She having an asthma attack. Right?
I would have too.
Right, my best friend, his name was Joey Marciano, right? He out there making it worse. He's like, Trash, don't die, man. Don't die, right? And like my rib is burning, but I'm just so scared, right?
How old were you?
Like 10. I was young, right?
Lord.
And then this was the real bad part. My nose was bleeding, which is cool because I got nosebleed. I got punched in the nose. You get overheat. I've had a nosebleed before, but I sneezed when my nose was bleeding.
And it made it look even worse.
And it was like a bubble of blood thing.
Oh.
And I saw that. I lost it. That was it. Oh, well, I'm dead. I know I'm dead. There's a 98% chance I'm dead. My grandma, she's with her albuterol. And Joey's like, don't die, man. Don't
both
die.
of y'all gonna be laying next to each other.
The ambulance wouldn't come in because they didn't come down South Philly like that. Yeah, it was crazy.
I saw my sister get shot in North Philly.
Jesus, sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I saw a lot in North Philly.
I saw some guys get shot too. But not my sister.
I was in the window. My mom sent her to the store to get a pack of cigarettes because, you know, back in the day you could get the cigarettes out the machine.
Yeah.
And I forgot what else she sent her to get. I saw the 2 men standing in front of the door arguing. One man had on this like Hawaiian type of shirt, this fedora, like a straw fedora. He's arguing with this guy's shirt open. They arguing, cut off shirts. I remember everything.
Where was he coming from?
They was just
Atlantic
it was a bar on the corner. They probably was drunk, but this was in the daytime. But back then it wasn't. It's 5 o'clock anywhere, you know, somewhere. So they drink all day, all night. So they're standing in front of the door. I don't even know what they were arguing for. The next thing I know, I see him pull out this little gun and he shoots at the man. My sister's just turned the corner to come back from the store. She got shot. The bullet went through her hand, hit somebody else, and then hit somebody else. That one gun. What
kind of gun did he have?
I don't remember.
A 45?
I don't know. Man. I don't know. But 3 people got shot.
Yeah.
And she just so happened already had fell down the step and had a cast on one hand. Then she comes home. Yeah. Yeah.
She had a rough go. How old was she?
She had to have probably been 13. Yeah. We've seen a lot in North Philly, but I love North Philly.
God bless you.
Yeah, we used to walk from, we lived on Diamond Street. We used to walk to Center City.
Yeah.
As soon as we saw the waterfall by the art museum, we knew we was there.
Yeah.
And we would be with our uncle. He'd tell us to walk a block, run a block. So it's like 8 of us.
What in Diamond?
21st.
You know what? I was already an adult. We used to play in that league up Pengather, 25th and Diamond. Right. They had a legendary adult basketball league there for the old heads in Philly, right? And I was like maybe like 30. They had like 35 and older, like 40 older guys. But I was just old enough to play in the 30s one year. And it was one of my favorite experiences playing. I loved playing in North Philly too. Is that
center still open?
Yeah, the center's still open, I believe, but they don't have the league anymore. But it was like a cultural hub for like all the old, like the names of former NBA players, all the Big 5 players from Temple and Villanova and LaSalle and all the guys. They would come there every Sunday, and you would play the games. Man, the gym is a little matchbox. You know, it's small, it's tight, and there would be hundreds of people in there, right? And a guy would shoot, and they would go, "Ooh," when he shoots, right? Man, I was always fascinated by that when I was just a spectator. Then I became old enough to watch. And the old heads would barbecue outside the gym. They would barbecue, and they would drink, and it was like an all-day thing. So I always loved playing basketball in North Philly because of that right there. It just kind of set the tone for the culture for me.
Right.
I was like a younger guy, like a teenager.
But you know what's crazy? We grew up in North Philly, 21st Street between Norris and Diamond. We went to Strawberry Mansion, where you have to walk past that center to get to school. We didn't venture in that area because we heard so many horror stories. My aunt used to live in Raymond Rosen Projects, and as my mom was going to her sister's apartment, they found a dead body in the building. My mom said she'll never forget that smell ever. But from that, we were always brainwashed to stay away from the projects. And we met friends in high school that lived in the projects, but we could never go visit them or go to their house. And frankly, I was scared to walk. It was like once I got to 22nd Street, 22nd and Norris to go to school, it wasn't until I got like past to 26th Street I felt like I can breathe.
But you know what? Basketball has always been different. Not today, because there's a different generation altogether. But whether it was South Philly, North Philly, West Philly, wherever, you know, and not just Philly, and ghettos all around America, right? Basketball
brings people together.
Right. It was a safe haven for athletes. Sports in general, but particularly, you know, us in the Northeast, so Philly, New York, you know what I mean? I guess Jersey, parts of Jersey, like the city, you know, that area, DC. If you was a basketball player, that gets you a pass. Like there were times when, there was one time in particular, I was walking down 18th Street again, right? Walking to the Y again.
You can sell 18th Street.
That's right. Walking down 18th Street again. Two dudes pull up. One guy's on a bike, one guy's on the handlebar, right? Dude jumps off the handlebar of the bike, pulls out a gun.
Oh my God.
Right? So I'm paralyzed in fear. Right? I'm stopped. Yo, and he was short, right? Y'all gonna give me your money, right? So
how old were you?
I was young. 12?
Like how much money did he expect for you to have?
He was young too. He was a young delinquent, right? And he pulled out this gun. So after I got rid of my paralyzation, right? I said, you know what? I'm gonna keep walking, cause I'm gonna pretend I don't hear him. I don't know why I thought that I should do that. I'm walking. The other dudes, they stuck. He got the gun on him. I'm still walking. I don't really know these dudes like that. There was like 4 of us. It was our first day on this team. It was going to be at the YWCA, which is now not there anymore, right? I don't know these dudes. So I'm not jumping in a fight with the gun to help y'all. They're not really my friends. I was just told to walk down 18th Street. So I'm solo at this point. Bang, I'm walking by myself, right? He said, yo, I know you heard me. Now I'm scared to death. You hear me? So then I humble myself. No, man, I didn't hear you like that. I didn't even know you was talking to me. We didn't say bro back. The person said, I didn't know you was talking to me like that, cuz. My bad. And I turned around. Him, the bicycle man, and the gunman, he walked up to me. He looked me up and down. He said, oh, no, not him. No, you the young boy we playing ball down 15th Street, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's me, man. I don't want no trouble, man. I ain't got no money, man. You know what I'm saying? If no, let him go. And I kept walking. He said, but y'all gonna give me your money. And they paid him. True story.
That's decent.
But that's basketball.
Yeah,
they keep you out of a lot of stuff. I was able to move around to a lot of different, in and out, different hoods and all that. I used to play on 10th and Lombard. All the 13th Street Projects boys used to play down there. Like if you say 10th and Lombard, right, you don't think that's a rough neighborhood. It's not. But it's right near where 13th Street Projects.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
So all the dudes from 13th Street Projects used to play at 10th and Lombard. I really couldn't go down 13th Street and be in and out of that infrastructure. But I knew dudes from basketball. Or when I would play, we played Strawberry Mansion. I used to play at 11th and Huntington at times, right?
You still friends with any of those cats?
Yeah, I just know so many people just because of sports. So I wouldn't say that we were friends, but it was just, if I see him in passing, yo, what's up? And you never forget a face.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, it saved me a lot. Like, I mean, it was a blessing, yeah.
That's why you gotta stay involved with these kids, because they need that kind of journey, not the getting the gun pulled out over
Man.
12 years old, but they need to be able to see that they got something out there.
Yeah, more than what they see in their
something
community,
out
right?
there for them. Yes,
Yep.
yes. So, as your family, you come from a big family. Oh, huge.
We're clan, yes.
Who's your biggest cheerleader? Your mom.
In my family? My mom's a pretty big cheerleader.
Did you ever fly her out to any of your games overseas?
No, she couldn't fly out to overseas. Maybe my brother's my biggest cheerleader. Okay, I would say my brother, and here's why. Because he's my younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Teron. Because we're 7 years apart. So when he was a little kid, he would be able to watch me play. But he was too small to play.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he became an adult, we could play together.
Mm-hmm.
So he always wanted me to do well, and I always wanted him to do well. My mom, she wasn't in our, like, there were just recreation games in the hood, games here, games there, where she was just working and doing her thing, but my brother and I would go. So I would probably say my brother would probably be maybe a bigger cheerleader than my mom, just because he was around more, you know what I mean? We were like all in and out.
Did he ever fly out into any of your games when you was overseas?
No, because when I was, a long time, when I was, right, for a time when I was playing, he was in college. You know, he played in college as well.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, and then he got a job, right? So basketball season's during the winter time, right? And people usually don't just take time off from work or their life.
Right.
He's married with 2 children. You know, he's a family man. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, yep.
And how many kids you have?
Not 0.
You don't have any children?
Nope.
Oh,
But I
okay.
have this feeling I'm gonna have twins.
You want to have twins?
Maybe.
I always wanted to have twins.
I think so.
Well, I didn't want to have twins. I just so happened to have 2 daughters that were like back to back, and I kind of made them twins, so they were always dressed alike.
They were faux twins.
Yeah.
Like fins, faux twins.
Yeah.
But like FW, it's a silent W.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
So I always dressed them alike,
Mhm.
and they are the best of friends to this
Yeah.
day. They do everything together.
That's a blessing.
Yeah, they do everything together. The jobs that they had, they moved together, they lived together, they work together. They live now a couple miles from me, and they right across the street from each other.
That's a blessing.
Yeah, so
It's a blessing.
yeah. And then my oldest son and my youngest son, they 13 years apart, so they don't really have that.
The,
They don't really
the distance is so far, right?
The only thing they have in common now is rap.
Mhm.
They actually got a song together. I love it.
Really?
Yeah, I'll let you.
I want
listen
to
to
hear.
it.
Yeah, I do want to hear.
I'll
it.
let you listen to it. It's called Long Way Home.
Really?
I love it. It's a proud moment to hear your 2 kids. You know, I want them to do a video, but they probably won't do it because they feel like the song is old. But
Well, y'all
it's
should
not-
do it still
just for your mama.
for mom.
Do it for your mama. Yeah, but they're very talented. All my kids are talented. You
I
want
like-
to have kids?
I used to want to have kids for sure, right? Now I'm at this weird place where I'm trying to see where my life is going. I think I know where I
your
want.
life is going.
Yeah, like, my life is not very settled.
Right.
It's exciting,
Mhm.
but it's not settled. So like, my cousin was asking me, I said, yo, where would you want to live if you could live anywhere? You know, I never thought of that a day in my life.
Really?
You would think that I would, right? Because it was always based on where I was playing, and then now where am I coaching?
Mhm.
So what I was doing was always more important than where I was. And when I think about having children, you can no longer live your life in that way
Right.
because your decisions need to be, if you're going to be a responsible parent, Your decisions need to be based on what's best for them at all
Yeah.
times.
So now you're thinking about the good schools,
Yeah.
good neighborhoods. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah.
That's
I
important.
never thought about that either.
Yeah, it's important.
Like, where would I want to live?
Anywhere in the world you could pick. Where would you live? What do you think? It's tough.
This is going to be weird.
All right.
I'm about to tell you this. So it was this movie that I fell in love with a long time ago with Diane Keaton.
Mhm.
It was called Baby Boom.
Mhm.
And she was this big corporate exec. And she made all of this marketing. She made billions of dollars for this company. And the company, she inherited this baby. One of her cousins died, and they left the
Oh.
baby to her.
Mhm.
So she took this child, and then her life changed because she had this baby.
Mhm.
The company, she didn't have, she was always working, so she didn't have many friends. So she didn't have anybody that she can babysit the baby. So sometimes she would take the baby to work with her.
Yeah.
So the job wound up letting her go.
Mhm.
She moved to Vermont, right? Took the
Yeah.
baby and moved to Vermont. And she brought this house that had these big apple trees.
Mhm.
And she started making homemade applesauce.
She got rich.
She was already rich
Whoa.
from the money from working at this
Right.
big corporate exec.
Mhm.
But she started making this applesauce. She was just making it just because she was bored and it was cold, and
Mhm.
so she stayed in the house and she would make the applesauce.
Right.
So then she started putting labels on it and selling it, putting it in giving them to friends,
Mhm.
and then putting them in the stores in Vermont. And then it became big.
Mhm.
The company that she used to work for wanted to then buy her brand.
Mhm.
And then she told them basically to kiss my behind.
Really?
But ever since that movie, I love Vermont.
Yeah.
I don't.
I thought you was gonna say you love applesauce, but go ahead.
No. I had enough applesauce as a kid.
Yeah.
Baked beans, hot dogs.
Yeah, that was a
applesauce.
thing in that era, right?
Yeah, baked beans have.
Do kids still eat baked beans and hot dogs? Beans and hot
I
dogs?
do.
You do?
I
And like,
do.
what about young kids?
They don't eat the baked beans.
Right.
They don't eat the baked beans, but they will eat the hot dogs. I love hot dogs.
Mhm.
I love hot dogs. I love any kind of processed food. It's not good for
Really?
me. Yeah, and it's not good for me. I love anything salty.
Okay.
Anything salty, I love, and that's not good.
Hmm.
But I would like to visit Vermont to see if, if that would be a place. I don't even know if it's a lot of black people that live in Vermont.
I would imagine not.
Yeah.
No. I knew someone that lived in Vermont.
Are they black?
He's a black guy, but he was there playing basketball.
So he probably not there now.
No. He's not. He's back in Philadelphia now, but I think he went to the University of Vermont. Or was it? Yeah, Vermont. University of Vermont. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of places that's beautiful, but I've been wanting to visit these places, but like when I see it in advertising, I don't see no black folks there. So I don't want to go somewhere and then I'm being chased out with burning crosses
Yeah,
and stuff
that's
like
true.
that. So, yeah. So you need to think about that. Where would you want to live? California? Would you want to live in Iceland again?
I love Iceland.
heard
That's my
it's
second
beautiful.
home. Iceland's my second home.
I heard it's very beautiful.
Iceland is beautiful. The weather stinks. During the winter, you only have 4 hours of sunlight, 4 to 5 hours of sunlight
Mm.
during the daytime. So which means you have 20 hours of darkness. But I adjusted to that well. But in the summer months, you have 22 hours of sunlight.
Oh, that's dope.
The sun doesn't set. It just goes halfway down,
Oh, that's
which is
dope.
great. But here's the thing: it's not as good as it sounds, because then you can't sleep well. Like if I say, "Oh, yo, go ahead, go to sleep right now," right? All right, cool. And we're gonna put a spotlight right on your face. Just go ahead and sleep. Or we're gonna put a half spotlight
So
on your
I
face.
know it's probably a lot of blackout curtain companies out there.
Blackout curtain companies, and then a lot of people with seasonal depression because they go through 6, 7 months, 8 months of darkness,
Mm.
right? But Iceland,
Is it cold out there all the time?
the warmest it gets is about 65 degrees in the like the middle of the summer, which for me that's still cold. Like obviously compared to 100 degrees in Philadelphia, it can get up to. But I mean, I love Iceland. I mean, I was there for 3 years. I made a lot of friends, have a lot of strong relationships there. So I love Iceland.
So did you come back to the States for work, or you came back because your coaching career was over in Iceland?
Yeah, well, like when I was in Iceland, I was a player coach. So my last playing year was May 2021. That's when we lost in the final. So I was like playing on the team and the head coach of the men's professional team
Oh wow.
and the head coach of a couple of youth programs.
So did you have to be coaching 1 minute and just say, I'm going in?
Right, yeah. Well, I was already in, right? And I played point guard, which is like the guy that tells everybody to play anyway. So it was a bit of a natural fit and transition for me. Anyway, it wasn't as hard as it seemed.
That's dope.
It happens. It's not common, but it happens sometimes.
Okay. So you just got finished playing.
In 2020, yeah, it seems like so long ago now, but it
Just
really
2
wasn't.
years.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is you've been able to keep a job. It's hard. It's hard out here.
Well, you know what? Diversifying your skill set and being able to leverage your skill set in the market, there's a way to have a job doing so many things.
Right.
The more people that you can service. I spent some time in player development. So the more people you can service and the more people you can help, the more opportunities open up for you.
I'm looking at you and I'm like, who he look like?
Denzel?
No.
Oh, wow.
Dame Dash.
Oh, I heard that before. No, I used to wear my hat like that back in the day.
Especially with the glasses.
Thank you.
I didn't see it earlier, but it's the glasses.
I used to wear my hat up on my head and a little bit to the side. This was like mid 2000s. Now, you know what? Sidebar. I was at the Freeway concert, the State Property concert last night. It was top tier.
Really?
I felt all the energy.
You're not saying that because South Philly, right?
Oh, there's only one South Philly guy. Beanie Siegel.
So how was he?
How was he? At the concert?
Yeah.
Electrifying.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm happy for Beans.
Me too.
I'm happy for him because he went downhill quick. And
he had a lot of trauma.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. And I remember seeing him and his family in Chuck E. Cheese in South Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I wasn't fanned out because I was kind of like, dang.
You know what? I'll say this. I'll say this about me. It's right. For one, I lived on Siegel Street for a long, right? And in my community, we didn't have much to be proud of. Not anything positive. And when he came out as Beanie Mac originally, and Cosmic Kev had a tape called The Best of Beans tape, my neighborhood has such a sense of pride. Right?
Oh, I remember.
I saw Beans before. I mean, well, a lot of times, obviously, but one time standing on a corner with a Bentley parked caddy corner. It was like, it wasn't supposed to be parked like that. It was like on an angle. It was just there, and it was all standing out. And he was having this conversation with somebody, and I just remember he was moving his hand. It was a real, like, spirited conversation, right? And that was like my first luxury car that I ever saw. You just hear about these things, and it made me start to aspire to some more. I didn't want to be a rapper, and I wasn't going to be in the streets, but at least he gave me a template to see, yo, you could really be from my block and his block first, and my block, and get to be something. And at the time, the Rockefeller was at the top of the profession. Right. You know what I mean? And he always shouted out South Philly.
Always.
Yeah, in his raps and his part. Yeah.
I look at him now, like when he had got shot, I felt bad. I felt bad for him, and then just like the downward spiral, and I was just like, dang, he was good.
He could have been one of the greatest, based on talent, right?
Right.
The greatest of all time. He could have been up there. Like when I was in college, this is when it really hit me, right? I was maybe like a freshman, sophomore or something. And that's when they had the Funk Flex. It's this legendary Funk Flex show where the Rock went up there and had this big cipher. Young Chris is 16 and Jay-Z said he's only 16, that whole thing. And Beans had this line, and he said, I've been through wars, homie, I can show stitches. South Philly got the fight game so vicious, right? And I'm walking through my dorm, and I had these New York guys from Brooklyn at the other end of the, and Brooklynites are very prideful about Brooklyn
Right.
rap, basketball, everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, he walked through, he said, "Hey, yo, Chaz." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm not gonna lie to you, son. Your man Bean, son. I've been through war, homie. I can show stitches. I'm feeling that, son. I'm feeling that." I said, "Damn, he getting love from New York, dude.
Right.
He official.
Right.
He official."
Right.
And
I'm
yeah.
just glad that he's evolved.
Yeah.
I will listen to his interviews when he's doing a podcast
Mm-hmm.
or he's being interviewed somewhere. He has really matured, and I'm
Yeah.
so proud of him.
Mm-hmm.
I am so proud of him. And I was like, when I saw an interview with him, and I was like, dang, I just want him to get back out there.
Yeah. Well, he did his thing last night.
Good.
He did his thing.
Who was headlining?
Woo! All right. It's the Freeway Show.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good Freeway Show.
Mm-hmm.
The whole state prop was there, right?
Okay.
They squashed all the beef
Oh, that's dope.
because Oskino had issues on at one point with Beans. He had some point with Freeway. Then it was like Sparks and like Oskino, and then it's like P. Crack. I mean, being different, whatever.
So they all came together.
Everybody was there. Chris and Neef. It was Oskino and Neef one time because of something. So the whole state prop was there, and they did all the classic songs, right? So that was one. The youngest from Philly, what's his name? D-Sturdy. Shake that. These guys,
Mhm.
they were there, right? So that helped maybe some of the younger people. If it was young people there, that was they set that they liked. And then my personal favorite,
What?
Jadakiss.
Oh, I love Jada. I love the Locks. Period.
All right, I'm gonna say this because this almost caused like a civil war in my community. Jadakiss has been my favorite rapper since I started listening to rap. Well, maybe not since I started, because that would be like Curtis Blow. But,
Mhm.
but when I started
You
having,
remember Curtis Blow?
of course, yeah, basketball is my favorite sport. I love to see him dribble up and down the court. Yeah, Curtis Blow. Jadakiss has been my favorite rapper. He was there. He came out on stage, and I went 100% fandom.
Because him and Beans was beefing.
That's my point. All right, when him and Beans was beefing, it was like their parents getting divorced. Because on one hand, Jadakiss is easily my favorite.
You got to pick because.
Look, how about this? There were times that was a real thing, right? I was at a basketball game over Choose on 19th and Washington, right? The DJ starts playing "Knock Yourself Out," Jadakiss joint. This is the time they beefing. Some guy walks up to the DJ and says, "Yo, you better turn that issue off before I knock you the F on." It was, and Beans and them was beating up the Locks street team dudes.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was real. Pulling them out vans, beating them up. Jadakiss, Philly's like his second home.
Mm-hmm.
He got real estate in Philly, from what I understand. He loved. He said it yesterday. What's up, Philly? This is my second home, right? And then when he did the verses, like a couple months, maybe a year ago now,
Mm-hmm.
when the whole world figured out he was Jadakiss, I'm like, y'all tripping, Kiss been Kiss. I mean, he said that verse. Oh, sorry. And he said that verse
Mm-hmm.
at the thing. I was in
You was
heaven.
apologizing to the mic.
Yeah, I apologize for that.
But I love Jade. I love the Locks from when they first came out. Beans grew on me. Now I liked him when he first came out because back in that time, Jay-Z was yeah. So anything that came under Jay-Z, you just loved.
What's your best Jadakiss verse? Your favorite Jadakiss verse? Any bar.
I can't give you one right now.
Let me give you one.
Yeah, give me one.
Let me think. Which one should I go? I have a whole plethora. All right, this is one because I like live off of this like Jadakiss. Like
As I got older, I just can't. My brain don't allow me to listen to rap that long. Now I can listen to the Locks, I can listen to DMX, I can listen to my kids,
Mm-hmm.
but these new cats, I can't do it. I could walk away with a headache. But what's your favorite Jadakiss?
I tried to live by this. He said, I have like three, but I'll say I'll give you this one. He said, "Don't even hit me on my hip if I ain't give you the code. And I ain't got a home phone number, I live on the road. Now I'm getting bigger checks, conference calls with bigger Zex, bigger bracelets with bigger." See, I never had a home. You see what I'm saying?
I could see where
Yeah.
how that
Like,
stuck with you.
he said, while y'all was running around pumping for whatever, he said the N word. I was listening. You still pumping as I'm coming through visiting. That was my life. You feel what I'm saying? I was feeling that. Yo, he got. Oh man. He said, what he said? I see you work out, chest and your back all nice, but this 12 gauge, you had your 6-pack on ice. That was like a triple wonton. That boy, look, it's Kiss.
So living 3 blocks from Beans, did you ever know him personally?
He was a little older than me, so he's not a person that I had a relationship with, but it's a person that you know how you walk into the Chinese store, you walk into the
So would he
store.
know you if he saw you?
I don't think that he would know me, right? Because I was not considerably younger, but how old is me? I'm not 10 years younger than him, right?
I think I'm older than him.
Yeah, he's got to be in his late 40s, right?
Yeah, I think.
So if you think about it, our paths. I'm a person in the community growing up where some people might say, he from around here? And then other people would say, yeah. Because I was always in every picture and everything, but in the back. I wasn't a street dude. He was a 100% street dude.
Right.
I was a basketball dude, but I wasn't a big shot basketball dude. I was like a late bloomer, right? So he wouldn't remember somebody like me, but our family structure is connected.
But you might not know that though, unless you talk to him, because he may say, "Yeah, I know who you are."
But you know what? He might recognize, because there's a great basketball league over 20th and Tasker called the Ralph Brooks Community Basketball League, and he's been over there a couple times, like in his this is recently, right? And I've seen him there, and so maybe he might recognize my face or something like that. But I don't think that he would say, "Oh yeah, Chaz from Seawitch," it ain't gonna be like that, right? I mean, especially at that time, he was literally at the apex of the music industry, you know, and I was some little kid running around Section 8, you know, saying his lines. You know what I mean?
Section 8.
Yeah,
well, we let, but Section 8 was like higher tier than Housing Authority. Even though it's all in the same
sector. It's like the tallest midget.
Right.
Kind of thing, right? And you know what's crazy? How we had the nerve to try to look down our nose at Housing Authority. Like, y'all all poor. Everybody around this building is poor.
So it's basically like going to a school that you got picked the lottery.
Right.
Yeah.
The divisive nature of mankind. I'm poor, but you're like poor.
Yeah, you're poor. G says that to me all the time. I'm poor because I eat eggs and rice.
Ooh, that is poor. That's very. The kids told me to start doing this. I do this.
You don't eat eggs and rice?
Nah.
You eat egg foo young?
Yeah.
That's eggs and rice.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I did know that, but stop. Because egg foo young is a delicacy in Chinese stores across the city of Philadelphia. Do you make your own eggs and rice?
Yeah.
That's not egg foo young.
I don't make my own egg foo young.
Because you don't have the foo young part in it.
Foo young is nothing but the onions.
Foo young makes it a delicacy. It's from Asia.
So what is the foo young?
It's Asian. It's important.
No.
It's important.
So you're gonna make me do some research.
Go ahead, look it up.
Because I want to know why they call it foo young. Is it because it's in a patty form? Is it because the things that's in it? Is it because it's fried?
No, I'll tell you why, honestly.
Why?
It's an ancient Chinese recipe from the temples of Shaolin, right? Way back from the Caucasus. This is all Wu-Tang stuff. I learned that from the RZA, the Jizza, Ghostface, and them guys. It's an ancient recipe from the Shaolin monks and temples, right? That they would trickle down, right, to the inner city communities. And the guy that used to deliver them from the mountain, his name was Fu Young.
Oh.
That's what it got named after.
So you learn something new every day.
I just made that up, but I'm just saying, like, you see that? That was crazy.
That was real believable. You just made me.
I used to work for
I'm not
History
weak,
Channel.
y'all.
Yeah.
I'm not weak. I don't believe everything I hear. But that did sound believable. Didn't it sound believable?
I think, yeah.
From the what? The Cheyenne? What you say?
The Shaolin monks at the top of the temple, it was trickled down. It was the bull fruit.
He got me feeling like Boo Boo the Fool now.
The bull fruit. Fu Young. You know
No, but I love egg foo young. But you eat egg foo young for real?
I used to.
Yeah,
I haven't
it's
had
eggs
Chinese
and
food in a long
rice.
time.
You just put some gravy on it. It's just,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, I'm gonna try that. Homemade.
No, I don't make it homemade. I just scramble some eggs and throw some leftover rice in there with some bacon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that.
A little salt and pepper, some
Okay.
butter.
All right.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I thank you so much for joining me. This was exciting.
It's been my great pleasure.
Yeah, this is exciting. I got to share with my listeners and my viewers about this man and his good works in the city of Philadelphia. And please, 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 y'all remember to sponsor one of the kids. Please, if you can do it for me, do it for the babies. Do it for the babies. More so, do it for the babies. Don't do it for me. Do it for the babies because they need it. So tell them again about the clinic.
The initial clinic is March 4th and 5th. That's the middle school clinic. We will be holding it at Big Hustle Athletics. That's located in Northeast Philadelphia. I can give you the exact address. And the high school clinic is the following weekend. I believe that's the 11th and the 12th. It'll be Saturday and Sunday. You can reach me on Instagram at Coach Chaz Franklin. And you can shoot me a direct message, an email.
And what's the fee for the
it's $99 for the whole weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
That's dope. Cause you'll spend $99 on nothing. So do it for the babies. I'm gonna sponsor 2 kids.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And you got another one in August, right?
There is something coming up in August, but for right now, we're just trying to make sure we focus on where we are on this first one. Yeah.
So if you guys can't sponsor, we know it's short notice. If you can't sponsor a kid for this go around, check out his Instagram for more information for up and coming events. You can sponsor the kids in Philly because they need it. And they're not just from Philly, right?
No, we have kids. They come from some come from Delaware. We have kids come from Maryland, New Jersey, of course.
Yeah. So all these kids, they need people like Chaz, and they need people like you and like myself to support them. So please, please, please check this man out, Coach Chaz Franklin on Instagram. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. I'm